for Witchy Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. Yay!
Yay!
Today I am so honored to be hosting our supreme and superb guest, Pruddence Priest, who has a deep and varied background in magic and the occult. And I thank you all for tuning in today. If you are on the Zoom, please say hello in the chat. And if you are live on Facebook, I will try and keep an eye on the comments, but we may reserve answering those comments and questions until the end of the video. So thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of Witchy Wednesdays at 1. If you are viewing this from our Facebook page, thank you for being part of our magical community. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure and smash that like button, comment below, and subscribe so that we can continue to offer these programs for your edification. Meanwhile, my name is Maria Schell. I am High Priestess of the Temple of the Divine Spirit and founder of the Magical Mastermind program. And today my guest is Pruddence Priest. Pruddence has been involved in the craft since the 1960s, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself and her path. So without further ado, welcome Pruddence to Witchy Wednesdays at 1.
Well, thank you, Maria, and I'm glad to be here. I remember just seeing you in Dayton a month or two ago because I was born in Ohio, and of course there's a truck going by, so...
Yeah, that's all right. It's all part of
Oh,
the
man, a
process.
big truck. Anyway, yes, I actually, when I was in high school, since you said yes, and I have been involved since the 60s. When we were in the 10th grade, we were taking a Greek class because I went to a school that taught Greek and demanded 4 years of Latin, and I majored in French philology. So one of the things I'm probably known for is my translation of Demonographia, which I translated from the Middle French, and basically it means the art of demons. And it was all descriptions that I translated of all these drawings in from the Infernal Dictionary. And that book sells for over $1,000 now if you can find a copy.
Oh,
but
wow.
My training in school, we were in Greek class, and my best friend Anna and I, they had us read Edith Hamilton's book on the Greek gods while we were learning Greek. And the first line in that book says, "No one worships the Greek gods anymore." And we looked at each other and said, "Why not?"
Exactly.
And that's how we started. And we called our little coven then Idioplastos, which is Greek for the power of ideas. And after college, we lived in Dayton, Ohio. I went to school in Cincinnati, and we started Amaranth Energies in 1971. And amaranth is a legendary flower that never fails to bloom. So, and we've been going since 1971. I may be the longest running coven out there. I'm not sure, but there are a few people that are older than we are, especially since we started in the early, as early as you could in the 70s.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the name selection, the idea that it's this ever flowering process, right? That continues right time.
And of course we have other sister covens that have hived off over the years, but we're still up and running and celebrating. But at this point, one of my favorite things to say is, we don't practice witchcraft anymore. We know how.
Yes.
At this point, after 50 years, you better know how. So, well, that was a here to now, short history of my background, but what else would you like to know
Well, I think people would find it interesting to hear about maybe your work during the Vietnam War.
Oh,
I
okay, yeah.
understand you were part of a coven movement to end the war in Vietnam. So tell us a little bit about
Yes,
that.
well, okay, well, then I was living in Cincinnati, and they used to have they called them head shops, but they got copies of the East Village Other, which was a New York underground newspaper. And they had an ad in it for, become a card carrying witch. And it was the Women's International Terrorist Conspiracy from Hell. And I loved it. And I sent them $2 and I got a membership card. But we marched on the Pentagon in the early 70s, and we tried to make a circle around the Pentagon to, block their energy and contain them and end the war. And it was like a total battle because the army or, the cops or the military police just would not let us make a circle around the Pentagon. So we didn't get to do that. And that was kind of sad. But we did later, and I ran an underground newspaper when I moved to Dayton. And in 71, we printed a spell against Richard Nixon. And it worked because, like, within a month of printing the spell, he, the Watergate happened.
Right.
And that was it. But Watergate is really interesting in relation to the spell because it had a picture of Dick Nixon with a real long Pinocchio nose. And what you were supposed to do was cut the picture out of the paper, and you were supposed to take it out in the backyard and basically do kind of like a witch's bottle, like you could throw nails and glass and everything on top of the picture. And then you were supposed to pee on the picture and chant, "Won't be water, but fire next time." Next thing we knew, by the next issue, it was Watergate. So I don't know how many people did that spell, but it helped.
Yeah, talk about some divine synchronicity happening there.
Yes, it was really empowering, I guess, because it was women working together. And out of that probably grew Code Pink, because I went to several of their demonstrations too. That was people from San Francisco, but they have a house in DC and they do actions. They would be sitting in a congressional at the impeachment hearings and everything, wearing pink and carrying signs. So
that's awesome.
I don't know if you knew about Code Pink, but I've been a feminist, I think, since I was born. But anyway.
I'm very certain of that, and having met Kathy as well, she seems to be on that same program. So yeah, absolutely. No better time for feminine empowerment than today.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So that's some of your history, but let's talk a little bit about how your particular magic or medicine is manifesting in this current paradigm. What's going on with you today?
Oh, well, when you scheduled this, I am leaving for Lithuania on June 19th. And when you talk about the craft, some people ask when you started, and I'm always saying, well, I was born on summer solstice. And in Greek and Roman times, children that were born on the solstices were turned over to the temple to be raised by the priests and priestesses. So,
right.
And in Lithuania, I'm wearing my little, this is funny story too, because this is current. This is a symbol for the summer solstice. And I didn't know that, but Jonas and my friends in Lithuania go, "That's a summer solstice pin." And I'm like, "Oh, well, that's my birthday."
Yeah, seems fitting.
Seems fitting. And again, that drew me to that. And I've been 3 times to Kernava, which is where they celebrate. That's one of the great places where they celebrate solstice, kind of like their version of Stonehenge, only it only has 4 hills.
Oh, okay.
Um, but summer solstice has been celebrated there since the 13 or 1400s. Because it's known that the last pagan emperor of Europe was Gediminas. The Duchy of Lithuania stretched from Frankfurt to Kiev.
Oh,
And
wow.
people know where Kiev is now.
Yeah,
And
certainly.
so it was a huge place. And so in Raza, they celebrate in this teeny tiny town where there's these 4 huge hills. And it's on June 21st. And in most of the northern countries, midsummer's a national holiday everywhere. So that's where I'm going. And I'm going there for solstice. And then from the 28th of June till July 1st or 2nd, we're going to be in Riga, Latvia, because I'm a member of the European Congress of Ethnic Religions. And in 2013, Jonas Trinkunas, who was the head of Romuva, which is the Baltic religion, pagan religion, or ethnic religion, I guess, in Lithuania, appointed me an ambassador to the U.S. of Romuva, which I know you've heard me talk about that, and a lot of people have heard me talk about that at festivals, because I do travel a lot, all over Europe, all over North America and Canada mostly. I haven't talked about, I did go to the World Congress of Ethnic Religions in India in 2012, so I have made it to Asia, but I haven't made it to South America. And I will be at Starwood this year.
Oh, yay!
Whoa.
Oh my.
Whoa, the pumpkin fell down. All right. It can't break. It's metal. Jeez. See, I'm manifesting talking about all these places I'm going.
Right?
Starwood is a festival in Ohio. We call it the Techno Pagan Festival. And they have over 2,000 or 3,000 people that come to this festival every year. And last year, I wish I hadn't sat outside at this point. This is
you're all right.
the most quiet street. But it's Wednesday. There's street cleaning. That should be the end of it. They just don't give you a time when they're doing it. But I couldn't figure out why it was so noisy.
Just a tiny bump in the road. It's all right.
All right. Well, I hope you could hear me. I raised my voice so you could hear me over that. Anyway, at Starwood this year and last year, they do the International Pagan Music Awards, and I'm involved with that with Melissa Anderson, who publishes The Witch's Brew, which is available online for free as a PDF, and I highly recommend that. They have a circulation of over 50,000, and I'm on their board of directors.
Well, it looks as if we're going to see each other again then, because I've been accepted as a workshop presenter at Starwood this year. So I will also be in the house.
Okay. Well, the awards, they're at the Green Man Tavern. And, and I think they might be Friday, but they're Friday or Saturday around 5 p.m. So I'll be there.
Yeah, I will definitely come find you.
Okay. Well, yeah, anybody going to Starwood can come find me. We'll have a booth near or in the tavern for the artists and stuff, and I'll be helping with that. So Starwood's so huge, you can be there all weekend and never find anybody.
I know, right? But at least I have a good target to aim for. So it's good that we spoke. So one of your specialties is a vast knowledge of amber, both as a medicine and as a magical tool. Perhaps you can speak to that a little bit.
Okay. Well, I think when we signed on, I'll like hold this up and see if it shows off. Ooh, yeah, that does. I don't care if it blocks me. I'm gonna try. Ah, there.
Oh, there you go.
This is
Yeah.
this is a giant piece of amber. It weighs a quarter pound. It's about 3 by 4, and it has a. You can't see it without a magnifying glass, but it has a colony of ants in it.
Oh,
And it's one
nice.
of my first huge pieces I bought back in the 80s. But um, I've my grandmother had an amber necklace and she gave it to me. And she's the one, because you were talking about my gypsy heritage or Romany heritage.
Yes.
However, it's kind of like gypsy, and by a lot of gypsies is considered like the N word, right?
Oh, right,
But
right.
and I heard some young Romany talking about that and how she was offended, and I went up to her and I said, "Well, uh, being from Transylvania, my grandmother was from Transylvania.
Okay.
Uh, I can use the G word, so
Yes,
I,
exactly.
I do." And I inherited her amber necklace, and that started me my interest, and that was like in like the early 80s, I guess.
Okay.
And I found there was a shop on Polk Street in San Francisco, and I bought my first amber there. And amber, I only deal in Baltic amber, which is the oldest and the best, and it's 60 to 90 million years old.
Mm,
And the Greek word for amber is electrum. And when you go through alchemy journals or ancient grimoires or occult writings at the time, you'll see the word electrum and you'll
right.
go, what the hell is that?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
that's the Greek word for amber. So amber has been used in magical workings for thousands of years, and especially in alchemy. And one of its properties is that it holds a charge, and that's why it's the our word electricity comes from electrum,
Yes.
because it does hold a charge. You can rub a piece of, well, if you have enough hair on your arms, you can rub it across your arms. It'll make the hair stand on end because it creates that static charge, which is
Right.
a powerful addition to any magical working. And the other uses they have for it, and one is really interesting. You've seen corncob pipes, I'm sure, and they
Yes.
all have yellow stems because they look like amber. And where that came from was the hookahs in Persia,
Oh,
because they had real amber stems, because amber will not transmit diseases. It's antiviral. So all these people smoking, sharing a pipe, if it's real amber, it is antiviral. So you can pass the pipe around.
wow, that's amazing. We should have had a big batch of that a couple of years ago and just rubbed everyone down, right?
Right, right. And then they had another medicinal use of amber is, and you can get this in the Baltic countries a lot. Um, they sell amber tea, and you can find it at some of the places in America that have Lithuanian or Eastern European restaurants. They sell amber tea. And what it does is when it goes through your body, it draws out impurities, because it's not magnetic, but it's static. So amber tea can help clean out your system. And then of
And
course
is
there's the
that
baby
something that you would
necklaces.
create using an amber essential oil, or how would you go about?
No, no, amber oil you can't use. It's real amber. When they make a necklace, like when they carve something like this one, I don't know if
Right.
that, yeah, that's showing. When they carve that, there's a lot of waste amber, and sometimes amber is only a 2 to 3 on the Mohs scale, so it's almost as brittle as glass. Glass is a 1 on the Mohs
Oh, okay.
scale, and and you can break it. Believe me, I've done it.
Yeah.
And but it will also melt. So if you have like a broken piece of amber and you pour boiling water on it, it should melt. But mostly they use the dust and little pieces,
Okay.
and it creates like a white dust. And they have plenty from, you can get it from any real amber jeweler or carver because they've got bags of it. And we also will burn it, and it's like flash paper when
Oh,
you
wow.
throw some dust on the fire. It's very impressive at our rituals.
Well, amber's always been one of my favorite stones, and now I've just learned two new ways to access some of its power. So that's amazing.
Oh, well, thank you.
So, what's up next for Pruddence Priest after these councils of world religion? What's up for you going forward?
Well, um, I haven't, we're supposed to, from mid-August, going back to Lithuania for our harvest festival for Žemyna, which is the goddess of the earth, and her day is August 15th, and that's a fixed date. And I'll be at Lithuanian summer camp, which is always from August 11th till the 16th.
Oh,
So
okay.
people come in just like any festival, and mostly it's for teaching young people, because I own a place in Lithuania, and when I bought it, I made them a village. So like Starwood or other places, that they don't have to rent a place to have their summer camp. And they have about 200 people that show up, and they have all kinds of programs. We dance all night. They got a guy there teaching you how to make uh, bronze medals or rings or hairpins or brooches. But the age ranges from like 5 to 25. That's like 80% of the people there
Oh,
are
wow.
5 to 25. So, and in my house, I usually I have 2 extra bedrooms. So I usually have some of the teachers staying there. And then after that, Melissa and I are going to Istanbul for a week, and to Greece for, well, we're going to use Greece as our base, and visit all these people in Europe that we know that we haven't seen since COVID. I have not been there since 2019. So
Mm,
that's pretty much going to do it for the rest of the year, but
yeah.
I'll be in Europe off and on the rest of the year.
Long awaited reunions as in the
Yeah, yeah,
forefront for you, right? And
right, right.
tell people all about your travel blog, because I know you have a blog where you talk about all of your travels and show pictures. So tell
Right, but it
people.
had, like I said, it hasn't been updated since like 2019. But there is a lot of history on there, and a lot of my past visits to the ECER, or just all my different trips to different places. I am on Facebook under Pruddence Priest. I also have an Amber Magic with a C page, and my blog is Prudent Travels at blogspot.com.
Okay.
And
And once this
that's
video
pretty
comes
easy
out
to
for
find.
everyone to see as a recording, Prudence, you can go into the comments of that and drop those links so that people know how to find you on Facebook and find your blog and all of the information about your amber.
Oh, okay. Is that where I hit the chat button and
Well,
do it, or?
after the video, after we're done with this segment and the video is up as a recording, you'll be able to go in and do it at that time.
Oh, on the Facebook page.
Yeah, we'll go over that once we're done with our
Okay,
interview
I got it.
process here. But
I've joined the 20th century.
yeah, I feel that. I'm still dragging my husband down the road to technology, so
Oh,
it's
well, one
ongoing
of
battle. But
our coven, it's not that we're Luddites, but one coven member doesn't even own a TV, and uh, another coven member doesn't even have an email address, let alone a computer. But then, of course, one of our coven members is totally into the internet and wanted us all to meet by virtual reality. But
Oh,
anyway, so we run the gamut
yeah,
from.
all ends of the spectrum. So is there anyone right now who you are paying attention to in the magical or spiritual community that we should try and take a look at for ourselves?
Oh boy, that's a good question.
What do you find captivates your interest these days?
Well, basically, I've been reading a book on Greek and Norse invocations to
Oh,
both the Greek and the Norse gods. And I didn't know you were going to ask me this, or I'd have those books in front of me. And I do like Jason Mankey. I've known him since he came to Canada. He's an excellent ritualist, and now he's writing a lot of books. And then there's Madame Permita, who also knows a lot about Baba Yaga. And I think that's the name of her book. And it just won an award for Llewellyn, I guess, for a folk magic book.
oh,
And
wonderful.
but most
Well, and
of
I
the
believe
books
that
I read are,
Jason and Estrella Taylor just won an award for their modern witchcraft with the Greek
yes,
gods as well. And
right, right. And of
and
course,
I
we're a Greek tradition. So, yeah,
right.
those are the ones I read. But I mostly still read books from the 19th century and the early 20th century.
Hmm.
So that's,
Yeah, there are still some tidy lessons tucked away in some of those manuscripts for sure.
oh, yeah.
And actually, I look forward to meeting Jason at Starwood because my
Yeah,
passage
he's going
on
to be there.
Hera made it into the Modern Witchcraft of the Greek Gods book. But I've
Cool.
never personally met him. I'm friends with Estrella Taylor because she's here local to D.
Oh,
So yeah, I'm looking forward to
oh,
meeting
okay.
him at Starwood and hopefully being able to get in on a little bit more of that sort of ritualistic magic. Mine tends to be a little less on the ceremonial side and a little more on the I don't know.
Well, he has fun with the ceremonial side. Um, he's been coming to Paganicon in Minneapolis almost every year, and they did a Dion Fortune ritual one year
Oh, nice.
based on her practices, and he's
Right.
very knowledgeable and entertaining on that. Um, don't expect totally serious OTO type stuff or
No, I mean
um,
honestly, the more playful the better as far as I'm concerned, because that's where
yeah.
the real magic comes is through that the presence of being joyful and in the moment and allowing spirit
Exactly.
to work through you, right?
Right,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, that's sort of what elevates the experience beyond just the ceremonial. For me anyway. And I know a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people who thrive in a highly ceremonial environment, but I tend to be a little bit more on the rib poking, have fun side of to make magic approachable.
Well, again, the most important thing to me is to celebrate. We're pretty strict. We used to do the exact day and the exact hours as much as we can. But if doing it on a weekend so everybody can go works, well, that works.
Yes,
The
exactly.
important thing, especially in magic, it's all about intent and celebrating or keeping your covenant with your gods.
Yes, ma'am. Well said. Well
Thank you.
said. So is there anything that I have not mentioned during this interview that you would like to talk about?
Um, no, I think we covered everything. At least, I'll cover how to get in touch with me. And it's just hard to condense 50 years of stuff. I mean, I could
Yeah,
give you
but you
10
know
more
what? We're like at
anecdotes.
exactly 30 minutes, and I think we did a pretty bang up job.
Yes, yes. Like I said, it'd take another 30 minutes to go into
And
a
3
lot
hours
of
and 3 days. And, Honestly, your history is so deep that we could spend several days discussing all of your adventures and experiences and never tire of it, I'm certain.
Oh, well, thank you.
Well, there are a few people who have been pivotal in creating what we consider modern American witchcraft, and I consider you on that
Yes.
list of people, right?
Yeah, I am on that list. Plus, the modern witchcraft revival, that's what I'll tell people about quickly. It really started at Pan Pagan 80, and that was close to Gary, Indiana, and they had 400 people, and every BNW, big name witch at the time, was there, including like Z Budapest and Gwydion and Ray Buckland and all these old timers in the craft.
Right.
And I actually in the 70s met Sybil Leek at a witchcraft meet in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
But the real revival, Pan Pagan 80 just caused everybody to get started. And even out of that festival, Starwood started after that, like in 83 or 84, and Wiccan Fest, which is the largest festival in Canada, started. So from Pan Pagan 80 on, especially during the 90s, there was just an explosion of paganism and witchcraft all across the country. And it hasn't stopped growing, but that was kind of like the fire that got lit under everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I came to my path in 1989, so kind of at the end of that initial resurgence, right?
See, it made it to Dayton, Ohio.
I know, right? Yeah, I think too now the people who were initiates and students and children of those progenitors.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
We've now had a full generational shift where those people are at that similar age and in that similar mindset of making paganism accessible to everyone, right? And
right. But they were like raised in the craft.
Absolutely.
Those of us who had to study it. So.
Yeah, what we call hereditary witches are being born all the time now again, right?
Right.
And so it is a great time as far as I'm concerned for the craft, because we're actually 2 generations along now from that time.
Oh yeah.
Raising another generation of hereditary witches and spiritualists and shamanas and people who understand how to walk with the gods and work with Mother Nature, right? And I think that
exactly
no better timing could be had.
No, our coven has spanned 4 generations at this point.
Right.
So, and still getting there. Yeah, I guess Della's got the young, she's 2nd generation and she's got her daughter, but we had people in their 70s in our coven in the 80s. So they were way, but like our parents.
Right. Well, and my family's 4 generations deep. My mother practiced, I practiced, all of my kids were raised in a pagan household.
Right.
And their children are now beginning to have children. So that's 5 generations.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah. And where there is one, there are more. Mm-hmm. Where there is one willing to be seen and heard and put themselves out there as like this. Yep. This is what it looks like. It's not that weird.
No, we were in Dayton in 1978. We were doing a solstice ceremony and the Dayton Daily News came out and wrote an article about it. So that's when we came out of the broom closet.
Oh, okay.
In solstice 78.
That's awesome.
Happy solstice, everyone.
Yeah, happy solstice, everyone. And yeah, I guess I am lucky to be from Dayton, Ohio, because in a lot of places where people had never heard of paganism or witchcraft, you were already being the
No.
face of that here in my hometown. And it created at least a small base of people that I was able to use as mirrors for the beginning of my journey, right?
Oh yeah.
And now, of
Yeah.
course, it's my duty and pleasure to continue to offer that example as I come up in the craft and reach that hand out to help the babies along. So
Well, good luck with that.
yeah, thank you. We all could use a little blessings from Fortuna, right?
Right.
All right. Well, once again, I thank you so much for your time today. I'm looking forward now to seeing you at Starwood.
Okay,
Be
me
too much
too.
longer, less than 4 weeks until we are in it, and I can't wait. I am so ready to be back in community.
I know. As soon as I get back from Lithuania on the 7th, I'm leaving on the 11th to go to Kentucky to drive up with Melissa.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll get a short break and pack another
Well, I don't
bag.
have $1 million, but you keep your eye out for something while you're there, because you know how I feel about Amber.
All right.
We'll see
Well,
what
I'll
we
have
can
all
work
my
out when
new
I see you at
stuff.
Starwood.
Right.
Anyway, for all of you out there who are watching this video, either now or in the future, thank you so much for joining us. We both wish you many, many blessings, many awakenings and realizations on your path to this wonderful, dynamic, and diverse form of spirituality. And we offer you many, many solstice blessings. Until next week, when my guest is going to be Ed Hubbard, one of the co-founders of the Correllian Family Church. I wish you many, many blessings. I love you with all my heart. And I say, go out there and make your life magical.
I totally agree.
Have a great day, everyone.